What's up everyone? Time for another top 10 countdown video right here on ARTV. If you guys are enjoying these, make sure you hit the like button on them and subscribe to the channel to make sure that you don't miss out on future uploads. Today, I'm going to be talking about one of the most popular metalcore turned rock? Pop? I don't know exactly what to classify them as these days, but they've definitely transformed and evolved their sound over the years into much more of a softer tone. Something much more listenable, I suppose, for a mass market. And it's very smart from a marketing point of view, but fans are pretty torn because you pretty much either have the fans that love Suicide Season, their early work, or the post-Sempiternal. Like, Sempiternal was the turning point, and then they love everything after that. And that's where I really started getting into them. I've known of Bring Me the Horizon since 2008, around the time of Suicide Season. I had friends that were really into that. They were popular on MySpace, so yeah, I'm not proud about it, but Diamonds Aren't Forever was my profile song at one point. Sempiternal was the turning point for me. That was the album that really just blew my expectations out of the water, and I really started to love their sound, and That's the Spirit kind of continued that with me. I found favor with that record once again. So there are no songs from their first two albums, only songs from their final three on this top 10 countdown. So if that offends you, I suggest you go ahead and tap or click away right now. Make sure you check out the description so you can see honorable mentions, and you can also find my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everything like that linked down there as well. Without further ado, let's dive into the top 10 Bring Me the Horizon songs. When preparing for this list, I started realizing that their 2010 record, There Is a Hell, believe me, I've seen it, There Is a Heaven, Let's Keep It a Secret, is completely underrated. More people need to have this on their radar because this is where the band really started to evolve. I can see changes in their sound. Little tinkering, they were still very metalcore at their core, but they were starting to implement new ideas, some more electronic leaning elements. You can see that on a track that's going to be coming up on this very top 10, Crucify Me. And you see that kind of bleeding through into several other tracks and seeing Oliver Sykes trying new things as a vocalist. Some of these tracks, like Alligator Blood, my number 10 pick, are still very, very punishing, but at the same time also show signs of life beyond just the metalcore scene. Bring Me the Horizon were very popular, but there's only so far I feel like you can go in the mainstream as a metalcore act, and somebody saw something in Bring Me the Horizon, and whoever that was, yeah, I say kudos to you because you pulled them up and really helped them take their sound to the next level and not sell out necessarily, even though they are selling out arenas at this point. They just really evolved. I know that was a little tangent there, but it's worth noting. I've always really enjoyed Alligator Blood. I like how high the stakes are on this track. Russian roulette, talking about a poker face, basically who's bluffing, what's going on here, an individual with nothing to lose, and you can totally feel that with the menacing tone of this track, and I love the outro on it. Once again, on this 2010 record, they crafted some big burning outros that really just take these songs to the next level. This UK band has never been afraid to wear their feelings on their sleeve, whether it be religion, politics, relationships, or with Sleepwalking's case, I feel like this is a track about just being kind of emotionless and not really being able to feel that much at all, just kind of being on cruise control day to day. And I love how angst-ridden Oliver Sykes' vocals sound on this track. The cutting guitars that are just very heavy, and of course his voice, not totally transitioning from those early days, but you can definitely see a new gleam of something that they're moving towards in that voice. Fans seem to be pretty divided on Happy Song, but I personally have been loving it since it came out. In fact, I might love it just a bit more at this point. Happy Song is one of the heaviest tracks on That's the Spirit, but it's totally heavy in a very different way from what they've done in the past. It's not just screamed vocals, it's heavier in the musicality of the track, the chugging guitars, and the menacing tone of this song. It's got a really, really cool presence. It reminds me a little bit of Nirvana and Smells Like Teen Spirit, just because I think of their music video, you can see all the cheerleaders in it, and then of course, I picture those cheerleaders from that for some reason singing the S-P-I-R-I-T, Spirit, let's hear it. I love how it builds up there and then they shout, let's go, and then a wall of guitars just hits you. And it's a very kind of depressing track in a way because it's talking about, you know, if I just follow through with what everybody else is doing, maybe I'll be happy then, or maybe that's gonna make me fit in, totally knowing that it's not. And I love how sarcastic Bring Me the Horizon get. Ollie Sykes has always been like that whenever he talks about subjects of like day-to-day interactions with people and obviously religion, as we'll get to in just a minute, but I think this is a fantastic track that maybe some fans should give another listen.
Sorry, brother, so sorry, lover, forgive me, father, I love you, mother. Can you hear the silence? Can you see the dark? Can you fix a broken? Can you feel my
The band hinted at a love for electronics in their 2010 record, but we really didn't see an evolution and appreciation of that fully until 2013's Sempiternal. Apparently they were challenged by RCA Records after signing to that new label in 2013 or 2012 to make their heaviest album yet, but Ollie Sykes and their new keyboardist Jordan Fish decided to go in a totally different direction, and still of course have some heavy songs, but also mix in new elements as well. And Can You Feel My Heart is one of those tracks that just nails it. I did not like this song at first. I don't know exactly why, but I remember the first time playing through Sempiternal and I was like, did not care for that noisy intro. It's got kind of these shape-shifting synths that are kind of like off the wall, and then the distorted vocal samples from Oliver Sykes, and it really sounds cool. The more you play it over and over again, it just kind of feels desperate as he's like reaching out there, especially if you watch the music video, you saw the clip that goes along with that. I think it absolutely does it justice and really brings this song to life even more.
I'll be born again. With the Lord as my shepherd, I will find a way. Fuck your faith. No one's gonna save you. Fuck your faith.
If you know me personally, you would not think that Crooked Young would make my list, but here's the thing, I have a dividing line between me and the lyrics in music. They don't really affect me, even though they cross over and we don't agree. It doesn't make me not love a song and appreciate it for what it is, because everybody views everything differently. And you know what? That's okay. To human is to disagree, I suppose. Crooked Young is all about denouncing faith and religion, and Ollie Sykes has made it very, very clear many times in their career that he is not a fan of religion whatsoever. He talks about sheep and shepherd earlier in this very record, and then alludes to that once again on this track, Crooked Young. And he ends up shouting out, fuck your faith. He gets so frustrated, and I understand that. I understand why some people can feel like Christians are very deluded, or anyone of any religion, I suppose. Whatever Ollie wants to believe is completely fine, but I love this track for the fact that it's a very, very aggressive tune. I like hearing somebody else's view, and I like seeing people get pissed off, and you can tell that he totally has a fire lit under him in this track, and that it's totally genuine. And the musicality of this track, yeah, it totally matches that. I'm hearing some symphonic elements in this track, I'm hearing some very hard guitars. I love how they mixed all of this together and just really made a pummeling, crushing track. Maybe not what most fans would have expected at the time, but Bring Me the Horizon teamed up with Canadian pop singer Lights for the opening track on their 2010 album, There Is a Hell. Believe me, I've seen it. Lights is a fantastic singer. I love her voice, and bringing her on this track really just added something new to it. I love the distorted and sped up and then all over the place vocals during the chorus. Very, very processed, but very, very cool whenever matched up with those guitars. And at the very end, she carries the outro of this track, and it's simply gorgeous.
So don't tell me what I can't see, 'cause we both know
My number 4 pick comes from their most recent record, That's the Spirit, and it was my favorite song on it. What You Need seems to be about getting help for somebody who is in desperate need of it. They think that they know what's good for themselves, they think they know what's good for you, maybe they think you're the problem, but in reality, you have to confront them, take them down, and say, look, you are the problem here. I love the synths, the kind of keyboard hits that go in the background, very spry, adds so much to the texture and lining of this track. It really just ties it all together nicely because there are some really cool running guitar lines all throughout the thumping bass work, and the drumming on this track really just propelling it forward at all times. Cliche as it may be, I really gravitate towards Anthem, my number 3 pick on my top 10 Bring Me the Horizon songs. This is a track that is screaming, this is an anthem, so fucking sing. It might seem a little bit cheesy at times, but I love how this song really mixes it up musically. Even though it just might feel like more of the same to some people, I always saw something special in this track. There are great singles on this record, like It Never Ends, one that's kind of grown out of favor with me, I suppose, over the years. Blessed with a Curse, one that's really stuck with me and made my honorable mentions as well. I don't know, this track I just saw rising to the top for some reason. Maybe it's because of what I said earlier. I like to see somebody pissed off, kind of ranting. I do the same thing in some of my videos, so maybe I see a bit of myself in that anger sometimes. And then maybe it's the crushing outro on this track that really just mixes things up. You can see a definite change in the guitars there. They like drop it down and then it starts chugging, and then they slow down the pacing of the way the words are delivered. And I always thought that that was really cool, and I've started to appreciate it more and more, especially while I was working on this top 10 list. If you've never heard that track, or even their 2010 record in general, I highly recommend going to check it out right after this video is done.
This is SEMPITERNAL, over and over again and again. Rise from the dead, you say. Secrets don't sleep till they're dumped to the ground. Signal the sirens, rally the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a moment of truth.
I remember listening to this song shortly before the release of SEMPITERNAL and thinking, you know what? Maybe I didn't give these guys enough of a chance. This is actually mind-blowingly good. Holy shit, I love this song, and the more the years have gone by, the more I've come to appreciate it. It's the ultimate put somebody in their place song. I thought I buried you, Oliver screams on this track, and I love how intense it is. I really appreciate how this song kind of has two different sides to it. It starts off a little bit slower, and then they have those moments that mellow it out a little bit more all throughout the song, and it kind of has an ambient outro on it, and it sees the band trying new things. And once again, as I mentioned several times throughout this video, that only means good things for Bring Me the Horizon because we see what they've done with that.
It's the start of the end. Surrender the throne, the blood on my head. Coming in the holes, we've been surrounded by vicious cycle. When we're truly alone, the scar of your heart is yours to its own. We've been surrounded.
It's hard to put into words why I love my number 1 pick, Empire. Let them sing so much, so I'm gonna try and keep it brief. I love the warm, steadily growing guitar groove that opens up this track before it really just goes into full-on searing, blazing guitar, and then Ollie starts yelling, "Surrender your throne." Not only is it angry, but it is genuinely entertaining as a song, especially once we get to the breakdown of this track and we just see Sykes screaming, "Let them sing, let them sing, let the bastards sing." It is so hard hitting. It's one of those tracks that I feel like has been a fan favorite. I would kill to see this live. I would love to go to one of these guys' show, even though I totally would not fit in whatsoever. That's fine. I'd stand in the back and still have a blast, especially if I got to see this track performed live. There are so many good aspects of this track. I just highly recommend going to play it for yourself if you haven't done so already and you're a casual fan, or maybe you've never even really listened to these guys. Bring Me the Horizon's music is not for everyone, but I still hope that you enjoyed my top 10 countdown of their songs. Keep in mind these were all just my personal picks, so maybe let me know a few of your favorites in the comment section down below. How about a top 5? Don't forget to drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel because friends don't let friends go and subscribe, or check out my last top 10 that I did right here, or the last review. You can check out those little annotations floating directly below me, and of course you can find all of my social media linked in the description. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon right here on ARTV.